All right, so hey everyone, it's Nick from WSOE here with Randy Blythe, and a lot of cool stuff going on with you lately. You just opened up your new art exhibit just not too long ago.
Yeah, May 2nd.
So how's the reception been for that so far?
I mean, really good. I got a really nice write-up in Billboard, a really nice piece in the Village Voice, doing a lot of press for that, and the opening was really well attended, and there was a soft opening the day before, so some press and some friends came out, it was all my photography, and some artists and professional artists and photographers came out, and I sold some pieces and managed to raise a little money for a charity, and, it went really well,
That's really awesome. Now, what exactly inspired your whole art exhibit? Because I know you do so many different things. What was kind of the inspiration behind doing this?
The inspiration behind it was like every single other creative thing I've done. Someone reached out to me and said, "Hey, do you want to do this?" And I said, "Sure." I don't, it's like, I never said I'm going to be in this band.
Right.
They asked me, one of the guitar players said, "Do you want to be, I want you to sing for my band."
Right.
So I tried out. I never said, I want to write a book. I had a book agent come to me and convince me to write a book. I never said I'm going to compose music for the ballet. My friend who's a choreographer asked me if I would do some work for him. And with the gallery show, the gallery owner hit me up about a year ago, and he was following me because of my photography. At that time, he didn't know that I was in Lamb of God. He was just like, "Oh, this is cool." Somehow he found me on Instagram. This guy followed me for my photography, and eventually put two and two together. But he hit me up and said, "Hey, do you want a gallery show? I own a gallery in New York." About a year ago, and I said, "Sure." And I had absolutely no clue of what that entailed, as I had never, dealt with printing or framing or any of that stuff. So it was it was a crash course in learning, but I'm super glad I did it because, printing your photographs is much, much, much different than looking at them on an iPhone screen on Instagram.
Right.
It's way, way awesome.
Yeah.
To see them printed, it's awesome. And I was super, super nervous about that because, I started doing photography during the digital era.
Mm-hmm.
Thank goodness. Otherwise, I'd be broke. A lot of my friends who are professional photographers tell me about, when they started out about film, and, oh, my God, they were broke for years.
Right.
But it's just super, super cool to see it in print. And I was worried, because I'd never really printed before, but had a lot of help from friends who, gave me some technical advice, like, what resolution to export the JPEGs to give to the printer, simple stuff like that,
right.
Because I had no clue. I took the photos and did the editing myself and, chose the sizes and all that stuff. But, I didn't even know that there were standard crop sizes about a year ago, the standard print sizes. I was like, I would just crop photos however I wanted, freeform.
Right.
And then I went and I was like, I want to print this, and they're like, ooh, photo paper doesn't come in 13 1/4 by 7 1/2 or whatever. There's kind of an accepted format, so I had to learn to work within that. So the whole thing was a real big learning process, but it was really cool, and it turned out really well.
Now, where did your whole, inspiration to start photography come from, to even before the gallery and all that? What really got you so in love with photography?
It was a complete accident.
Okay.
I got a Canon 60, excuse me, a Canon 60D, which is a prosumer model, to shoot some skateboarding video,
Right.
and shoot some video for a documentary project I had in mind, some B-reel stuff. And one day I was in my kitchen and I looked at my coffee pot and I was like, well, let me try and use this camera, for what it's actually made for. And I put it on automatic on dummy mode, because I didn't know anything about exposure or anything. And I just pointed it at my French press and took a picture. And then being that it was a digital, I looked at the results immediately. And I was like, whoa, that is cool. So from there, that was about 4 years ago.
Okay.
From there, I just started shooting. But it was entirely accidental. I bought that camera to do video with.
Okay. Interesting. So now, what exactly, because I thought it was interesting, the title of your gallery exhibit is Show Me What You're Made Of. What exactly are you trying to get across with that title?
Well, did you read the artist statement?
I did. So, I mean, but like for everyone else out there, what's the vibe you're kind of going with?
Where you were coming from. Yeah, I mean, like, basically, the show has basically two sort of, I don't want to say styles or whatever. Maybe that's it. Two sort of photographs, I suppose. There's portraits of people,
okay,
and landscapes. And there's, one or two, like, urban landscapes, but mostly, like, natural landscape stuff that I find interesting. So the portraits of people, I like photographs that show emotion, right?
Right.
So, like, there's a picture of. I like photographs that show raw emotion, like unfiltered, real emotion. There's a picture of these people on this amusement park ride at the exhibit being shot into the sky. And that was in Australia. And I had this big telephoto zoom lens, so I'm shooting below them as they're being shot into the sky on this weird cable sort of thing. And it was a man and a woman. And looking at them, the woman is just completely excited. She's like screaming, she's got her fingers up, and is just totally happy to be in this, amusement. It's like a metal bar on these cables that they shoot up into the sky.
Yeah.
She's totally excited. And then the dude, her boyfriend beside her, has his, like, face covered. He's just horrified. He's just, like, scared.
Right.
So there's a very real sort of expression of how those two people are handling that situation. And there's no faking it. They can't fake the funk at that second when they're being shot into the sky at 200 miles an hour. So it's raw emotion without a filter. And however people present themselves to the world, everybody wears a mask of some sort or the other.
Right.
You very rarely get to see a person, if someone knows, even unconsciously, if someone knows they're being looked at, they're unconsciously going to carry themselves in a different way than they would if they were alone in the bathroom, taking a poop or whatever,
Yeah.
So if you can catch people in these moments where emotion has overridden their need to put up this front and put up this mask, and you can kind of really see what the person is about. And that's what I tried to, like, capture with my portraits, and that's why a lot of the portraits are people, in these situations where their emotion overrides their societal shell, and it's also the portraits of the people. It's either they're in an extreme emotional state when they're being their photo taken, or I'm in an extreme emotional state, or both of us are. You know,
Right.
so I mean, it's the photography for me is an attempt to sort of step outside of my very subjective views of the world, like when I write lyrics or music or a book, I'm trying very subjectively to put my point across. Photography, for me, is an attempt to step back and notice.
Right.
I want to notice what's going on in the world. Mm-hmm. And that's, that goes with the title as well. Show me. Let me see you.
Right. Yeah.
So that's what where that comes from,
And now you mentioned kind of how it's a separation from the music view that you have. Is there any chance that maybe in the future you'd want to kind of combine the two and maybe try to do, photos for album covers or inserts or something like that?
Oh, sure. I've already done that.
Oh, you have? Okay. Right.
Yeah. Madball used a bunch of my photos, and so I have friends in different bands that ask me to shoot their pictures all the time.
Okay.
And that's kind of a weird thing. Like, I don't know, a friend of mine, someone asked me the other day, they were asking, there's a well-known musician coming up with an album coming up, and they're like, do you want me to submit your name to be the photographer for this, album?
Right.
Insert and so forth. And I know this musician, and I was like, no, I don't. I mean, it's a paying gig, pays well, but right. I was like, no, I don't think so, because it would change my relationship with this person to have to shoot them in a sort of sterile environment where they're presenting themselves in a certain manner for their album insert. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, they could say, I don't like this, I like the way you do this. With the people that I've shot photos before, it's just like, okay, let's go for a walk, and I'm going to shoot pictures of you, and I'll send them to you, and if you like them, you can use them.
Okay.
It's casual like that,
right.
That stuff of like, I don't know, I'm more of a capture the moment kind of guy than a think it out and work in a studio type guy.
Gotcha. Okay.
And I think that's one reason why, sometimes I get some really good live shots of bands that are friends of mine, because I'm allowed, A, to be on the stage,
right,
where most photographers aren't,
right,
and B, my friends don't feel conscious. They don't feel self-conscious around me. When I'm standing by by their guitar tech shooting a photo, they're like, oh, it's just Randy.
Right.
He's just doing his thing, and they know I'm not going to put some photo on the internet when they're making a stupid face or make them look bad or anything like that.
Right.
Because that's not what I'm about.
Exactly.
But there's no direction. There's no them directing me to do this. And for me to work within a contracted sort of structural thing where a band, where a musician I'm friends with, or their label is like, we want this, we want that, it'd be kind of hard for me. That's why I'm not a wedding photographer. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Because they'd be like, I'd want this and I'd want that, and I'd be like, I don't care what you want.
Right.
Exactly. I don't care at all.
Right.
And people have asked me, they're like, will you shoot my wedding? And I'm like, sure. If you want me to, it's going to cost you an immense amount of money, A. And hopefully that would discourage them.
Right.
Because I'll quote ridiculous, like $10,000 or something. And then I'd be like, and B, you can't direct me in any way, shape, or form whatsoever. I'm going to take pictures of what I want to take, and I don't care what you like. And C, the first time that the mother of the bride or the groom says one word to me, that's it. I'll walk off. So if someone can like fulfill all those requirements, $10,000, lodging and an airplane ticket, I'm there. I'll shoot your wedding. And I'll do it the way I want to.
That's always a good way to go, though. That's always a good way.
Yeah, and nobody will ever take me up on it, so it'll be awesome. I really don't want to shoot anybody's wedding. I have zero desire to do that.
Now, a really interesting thing that I found, and that's kind of how I knew about the art exhibit in the first place, and I've seen a lot of your art, is your Instagram, and which I have to say is probably my favorite Instagram account to follow. It really is. Just the stuff that you put up, and I love how you write nice long descriptions giving backstory about whatever it is that you posted. I just find your Instagram to be extremely fascinating. And is that something that you really enjoy doing?
Yeah, and like the Instagram thing, for me, it keeps me, it's a way to keep me shooting.
Mm-hmm.
Because I really enjoy shooting. But if I think, I haven't posted anything cool in a while, I ought to post something.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not getting paid out of Instagram or anything.
Right.
I got a gallery showing out of it. That's pretty cool. But it's kind of like, I'll try and put something up. One or two cool things at least a week, cool photographs. And it's kind of like a way for me to judge my progression in my photography skills as well.
Right.
Because I can look back and see how things are going. It's kind of like, I'm becoming a photographer on Instagram slowly. You can see it. And it's really not the best medium for sharing photographs. The resolution isn't the highest, and it's a little tiny, but, it's good enough.
Right.
It's good enough. And I don't know, it's cool, it's kind of a neat medium, and I don't show pictures of what I had for lunch or any of that crap. No selfies. I don't like selfies. I don't like the word selfie. It bums me out. Selfie. Go screw your selfie. How about that?
Yeah.
I don't really like that. So, but it's a cool way, and like writing with it. Like if I put a picture up and put a story with it or something, it's like you're being creative.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's like being creative. It's like using the creative muscle. It's a way to exercise a creative muscle, which will atrophy if you don't.
Mm-hmm.
So I like it. Yeah.
Now, I thought my personal favorite one is on your Instagram is the one where you were on the beach and you stumbled upon the rapper making a music video.
Oh yeah.
That was probably my favorite one.
It was kind of interesting. It was a stormy day, and he's sitting there like rapping to the sea, and I'm like, well, the surf is blown out, but this is kind of funny, It was kind of interesting. I don't know. I always have a camera with me because you never know when you're going to find an MC, spitting rhymes at the waves.
Exactly. Now, another interesting thing was, as you mentioned earlier, a lot of different people came out to check out your gallery, and I saw you also posted on Instagram. Bob Gruen actually came out to check out the gallery.
Yeah, he and his wife.
Was that probably a big deal for you?
Yes, that's a pretty big deal for anybody who doesn't know who Bob Gruen was or is rather. He started out shooting Bob Dylan way back in the day, and then he shot John Lennon when Lennon was in New York. He was his personal photographer, really, and he shot in Led Zeppelin. He shot the Sex Pistols,
mm-hmm.
and he was there, in New York at the beginning of the punk scene, the Ramones. He got all those bands at CBGB's and took so many like iconic shots of these huge bands, and then the more underground stuff in the punk scene. And he's a world famous photographer, and here's this dude coming. With his wife, Elizabeth, who's also, a very talented artist, he's coming and checking my stuff out, and he was, there for 45 minutes, an hour, walking around, enjoyed himself. We had a talk, it's pretty intense, when a heavyweight dude shows up to your first show.
Yeah.
So I was pretty stoked on that.
That is pretty awesome. Another interesting thing was I know you were selling most of the pieces, but you were also doing the auctions as well. I know you had the Guar piece that you were going to be auctioning off and donating. Can you give a little bit of, I think it's over already, right? That was the other day. Can you give us what exactly did you do with that piece? What was it for?
Well, I shot the piece at the last barbecue, and it was the first show they had played, or my friends in Guar had played without Dave Brocky, since he had passed away. And I wanted to do something for charity, and Dave, he was first and foremost an artist. Like, whenever I'd see him, when he wasn't doing the Guar thing, he was painting or working on a concept, writing a script or a book or something. He's always doing art.
Right.
Always, always, always. And I took this photo of the audience from the stage at the last barbecue, and there was just blood flying everywhere during the last song. And it came out really cool. It's not of Guar, it's of their audience. The photo, I decided to call the photo "Guar Will Never Die," and I set up for the gallery owner, Kevin Wilson, and I set up for auction to benefit this nonprofit out of Richmond called Art 180, which it provides art programs, it has a space, it provides materials, instructors, all that stuff for kids who live under difficult circumstances, and some economic hardships, because in our public schools, funding to the arts is always the first to go.
Right.
We need a new football team, but we can't have the arts. So this place provides. Doing art, music, writing, all that stuff. That's my life.
Right.
That saved me. So for me, trying to help someone else out, get some resources, and this place, Art 180, does a great job of it, seemed like a good thing to do, and I wanted to do it in honor of Dave. So we got, I think it was $850 for that photograph at auction.
Okay.
Almost $1,000.
Yeah.
So 100% of that money will go directly to Art 180.
Awesome.
And, it was a limited edition, one of two prints, and the other one I have to get printed and framed. Will go to the slave pit.
Okay.
So it's nice. It's nice to give back,
Yeah. Now, do you think you'll be doing more of these in the future, art galleries?
Gallery shows?
Yeah. Do you think you'll do some more?
Yeah, galleries are booked a long time out. I certainly hope so. People are asking me, they're like, when are you going to do one in Richmond? And I'm like, when a gallery owner asks me, this one, like I said, a gallery owner just asked me.
Right.
He's like, hey, do you want an exhibit? I didn't go chasing after someone. I've got the band and the book and valet and all this other, I have a wife, I have a family, I don't have time to go chasing after things. If someone presents me with an opportunity and it's the right one, then I'll take it, you know?
Mm-hmm. Well, perfect. Thank you very much for giving us a little bit of background on the whole exhibit.
Yeah, man, no problem. It's up until June 30th at Sacred Gallery, and the website is sacredgallerynyc.com, and it's the intersection of Broadway and Canal on Soho, right outside Chinatown. If anybody wants to stop by, it's up until the 30th.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Randy.
Thank you.